What's up guys, Mark Abraham here. Today I want to be diving into a very sensitive topic regarding the Forex market, and that has to do with how to trade signals or Forex signals effectively. A lot of people has raised concern in this area that why is it that the same signal that their signal providers give them, when they trade the signals, they end up blowing their capital over and over again or blowing their account over and over again. Meanwhile, the signal providers kept screenshotting their profit and sending it into the signal group after they gave them the signal. Some are even saying that the signal providers are scammers or they are fake, whilst others also concluded that these signal providers deliberately made them to lose their money so that their brokers will pay them. What do you also think? Is that what is actually on the ground? Are you part of the category that are assuming this way regarding signals in Forex trading? First of all, I want you to understand that aside acquiring the skill, having the knowledge about Forex trading, one of the most significant contributors to your profitability and success in Forex trading has to do with the amount of capital you are having and also the amount of lot size you are putting in on every trade. Bear in mind that a lot size of 0.01 on gold, if it should go against you, let's say 100 pips stop loss, you are going to be losing $10 on that trade. If it is 50 pips, that is going to be $5 if you're using 0.01. Now, I'm stating a very low capital using a low lot size 0.01 because most of beginner traders, most of the time, the capital that is being started with is not a big capital. In order to manage proper risk, we ended up using 0.01 or 0.02. Let's assume this is the situation that your signal provider provides you with a signal and it's 100 pip stop loss with a risk of 1:2 reward. If it is 100 pip stop loss, then the TP is going to be 200 pip TP. So the moment that trade goes against you and hits your stop loss, you're going to be losing $10 if you're using 0.01. But if it happened that you hit your TP, you're going to be making $20 if you are using 0.01 on gold. So here, let's do the mathematics. Your signal provider provides you with a signal. 1:2 risk reward. And the stop loss is 50 pips, right? Now, you are using 0.01 on that trade. If that trade should go into even profit of 10 pips, you are going to be making $1. 10 pips, you are going to be making $1. And let's assume your signal provider has entered 0.1 lot size. Just that 10 pips is going to be giving your signal provider $100. 10 pips, 0.01, you are making $1. 10 pips, 0.1, your signal provider is making how much? $100. Again, let's look at another scenario. You are still using 0.01. Your signal provider is using one lot size. That 10 pips equals $1,000 profit. Your 0.01 is giving you what? $1. So the moment that trade goes into a profit of 10 pips, your signal provider has made how much? $1,000 on that trade. If that trade goes into profit of 20 pips, your signal provider has made how much? $2,000. So automatically, your signal provider can close that trade and screenshot profit and send it to your group of $2,000 or $1,000 if it should go into profit of 10 pips or 20 pips. Now, you that you have now made $2 or $1, definitely you'll be waiting for more profit and waiting or probably waiting for the trade to hit TP so that you can make more profit on that trade. By the time you realize, if that trade should reverse back and hit your SL, if it's a 50 pip stop loss, you're going to be losing $5. If it's a 100 pip stop loss, you're going to be losing $10. Meanwhile, your signal provider has already made $1,000 on that trade using one lot size on that trade. So this is where the difference comes in. So the higher your capital, your balance, the higher the lot size you can risk on that trade, and the higher the profit you'll be making in case you run into profit. And it's also the same. If you use a higher lot size and you hit SL, you're going to be losing more money. That's why your signal provider keeps making more money than you are making. And because you also wanted to hold that trade for long to hit your TP, when anything happens and it comes back to SL, your stop loss, you are going to be losing money on that trade while your signal provider is making money on the same trade. So now, how do we go about this issue, or how do we handle this issue? Number one, first of all, before you join any signal group, do your best to know the character of your signal provider in regard to how they give their signals. This signal provider, is he a scalper or a day trader? You have to know, or a swing trader. The signal being given, is he a day trading signal? Is he a scalping signal, or is a swing trading signal? You have to know this first. Because if your signal provider provides you signal based on scalping, it means that you are not supposed to keep long in that trade. You are not supposed to take long in that trade. The moment you take the signal and you make some amount of profit, you have to close and step out. Or if you don't want, you can either set break even on the trade the moment the signal goes into profit. First of all, know the character of your signal provider in regard to the type of signal they are giving you. If it's a day trading signal, you know how to go about it. You know that you're going to hold this trade for long. So you also know the amount of lot size you are supposed to put in there. If it's a swing trading, the same way you know how much to apply on that trade. So that's the first side. Know the character of your signal provider and also use the proportional loss size that's going to help you stay profitable, whilst also bear in mind risk management. The second way of handling this situation is I advise that before you start trading signal, learn, at least have basic knowledge about forex trading. Most of the time, as beginner traders, we don't want to learn. We are only interested in making money. All that we know about is that I've seen this mentor, I've seen this guy doing forex trading, is making a lot of money here and they bought this car, bought this house. I also want to make profit and they buy luxury things through forex trading. And because we are not ready to go through the process, we resort to trading signals. Now, in doing that too, the basic knowledge we are supposed to acquire when it comes to trading, we don't even have it. And that is going to make you lose more money. Now, what are some of these basic knowledge you are supposed to have? First of all, how to enter a trade, how to buy and sell. You have to have this knowledge. Secondly, how to set your stop loss. Even if your signal provider gives you a signal and gives you stop loss this price, give you TP this price, you need to know how to input that numbers or those prices in your Meta4 or Meta5 or whichever platform you are trading. You need to also understand, you need to know how to modify your trade. And finally, how to set break even. After your trade goes into profit, how do you protect your capital and also your profit? You need to know how to set break even and closing partial profit. So with this basic knowledge in you, when you are in the trade, you don't necessarily need to rely on the signal provider's commentary in order to what? Manage your trade and protect your capital. You know what to do at every point in time. So this is another way by which you can trade your signal effectively and stay profitable, by having basic knowledge about forex trading. Now, the last one, which is not the least that I'm providing for you in this video, is to pay attention to your lot size. Okay? Pay attention to your lot size. So the amount of capital you are having in your balance also determine the amount of lot size you are going to be using. So if 0.01, okay, if you are putting 0.01 on a trade, when the trade goes to profit, you can't secure partial profit. The only thing to do is to close the entire trade or set break even. And when you set break even, the trade come back to entry, you are not going to make money. And we are here to make money. You understand me? You are here as a trader to make money. That's why you join a signal group, to rely on the intelligence of a professional in order to stay profitable in the industry. So setting break even will only bring you to a point where you are not making any money in the market, just that you are also not losing money. But you want to make money. So what do you do? Instead of 0.01, if you can take extra risk, you can put 0.02 on that trade, so that when the trade goes into profit, you can close half of the profit by securing partial profit. And after you secure partial profit, you cannot put in your break even. With that, even when the trade comes back to entry and takes you out, you made some profit on that trade, and just that the rest that you could have taken also, you lose that one. But at the end of the day, you've made profit on that trade. So you can either decide to increase your lot size a bit or do multiple entries 0.011, 0.012, 2, 0.01 on that signal, so that in case it goes into profit, you can close one and keep one running whilst you put that one on hot, break even. So these are some of the ways that you can trade your signal and stay profitable. First of all, know the character of your signal provider in relation to the type of signal he's providing, whether a scalping signal, a day trading signal, or a swing trading signal. And then secondly, have basic knowledge about the Forex market. Have basic knowledge about Forex market, break even, stop loss, TP, and all those things, partial profits and all those things. Have those basic knowledge as a Forex trader or a beginner Forex trader. And then lastly, pay attention to the amount of lot size you are putting on a trade in order to profit from the signal you are being given. Try to risk a little bit more than you used to risk. However, that also has to do with the amount of capital you're having in your account and also your risk tolerance capacity. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have for you today in this video. Till I come your way next time, God bless.